This video is going to be a film study look at how Brian Branch and Ifeatu Melifonwu played in the Lions' 42-17 win over the Broncos on Saturday. The two safeties combined for 11 tackles. Now, 9 of them was by Melifonwu. 3 quarterback hits, 3 passes defense, a couple run stops at the line of scrimmage. Those guys played fantastic. There's multiple DBs that had an impact. In fact, I already did a video on the nickel blitzes or DB blitzes that Aaron Glenn utilized. And in that video, I think I pointed out 3, 4, or 5 guys who played well. Additionally, I wanted to do a standalone video on Melifonwu because really this is the best game of his career. Been with the Lions for 3 years. Late in 2021 and late in 2022, both of those seasons, he had 1 or 2 games where he played almost 100% of the defensive snaps. Otherwise, in both of those seasons, not really involved in the defense. He did have 1 game with 8 tackles, I think, in 2022, 1 game with a forced fumble, and 2 passes defensed in 2021. This year, this is his first game really having tremendous impact, even though in the last 2 weeks overall, if you include the loss against the Bears on the road, he's played 132 snaps. For Branch, Saturday was just another brilliant display of his versatility and how he impacts the game across multiple levels, forward, backward, and at the second level where he normally lines up, and then the entire width of the field as well from sideline to sideline. Had a big quarterback hit on Russell Wilson in the fourth quarter that also illustrates his strength, his explosiveness, his pop when he makes a tackle. There's a different impact when Brian Branch gets a hit, a clean hit on a quarterback than even some of the defensive linemen that are on the Lions team. He's had what I would consider to be an incredible rookie year. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who wouldn't co-sign that statement because it was interrupted by injury. And even when he did come back to play, I thought it took him 2 or 3 weeks to get back to where he looked like the Brian Branch we saw early in the season. But nonetheless, now he has 7 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, still doesn't have a sack, 2 interceptions, 1 that he returned for the touchdown in Week 1 against the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football, 8 passes defensed in what, to me, is a revealing season from the standpoint of how many teams passed up on him in the draft and then drafted safeties or potentially nickel safeties later on. I think Branch would have been a great pick for probably 5 or 6 other teams who passed up on him. I don't pretend to know all of the situations with Melifonwu because really this is my first year fully trying to cover the Lions team, to be real. Even though last season, probably the last 3, 4, 5 weeks of the regular season, I tried to watch the games and or conduct a reaction video on them. It's a big moment for him, especially in light of the fact that C.J. Gardner-Johnson is coming back. He did have 2 passes defense in this game, including 1 on a deep route to an open tight end that I'll show you in this video. And then the amazing hit on a Broncos running back, I think McLaughlin, at the goal line to kickstart what really ended up being a goal line stand or a goal line stop. When you combine it with the brilliant play from Derek Barnes on the ensuing snap, and then the penalty for being offsides on the Broncos right guard. It'll be a crowded safety position when C.J. Gardner-Johnson comes back. And it's okay if people want to ask the question or focus on who's going to start, who's going to play. That's fine. More importantly than it being crowded, however, is now one with a lot of proven or halfway proven talent. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, proven talent. Kirby Joseph, proven talent. Brian Branch, proven talent, in my opinion. Melifonwu, I guess it depends on your opinion as to whether or not you think the way he played Saturday is an indication of how he can perform on a consistent basis. Nonetheless, that's a great group of 4 there to have as options. Let's get to the film, and we'll kind of switch between both guys on each snap, to be honest with you. Now, the first play actually is not going to be one that's positive from a Brian Branch standpoint. It's going to be an RPO on the Broncos' first possession. And the Lions are already 3 over 2 to the top side, the field side, where the nickel typically lines up. You can see ball on the right hash. Branch is here. Back is on the same side as the Twins. Ends up being an RPO. That Branch doesn't have any awareness of the route. It develops behind him. That's the idea of the concept. Branch ends up being the guy who makes the tackle on Jerry Jeudy. But if we diagram it out a little bit, as the play develops, you'll see that the inside linebacker to the field, which is Barnes, is going to go with the running back. So potentially to be able to play the ball, if it's handed off, to the running back. So to the field if you're committed to 3/2, which really Joseph back here at this depth doesn't really count in terms of the RPO slant, because that's what it is. Judy ends up running the slant in behind Branch. I think this is one of the few mistakes that Branch made in this game. It's an RPO. He has to play that route, if you ask me, or try to get in the window if the inside linebacker is going to fast play it. If the inside linebacker was, going to slow play it, meaning keep his feet somewhere in that area right there, well, then it'd probably be a give to the running back in the first place. So I think Branch was a little bit out of his depth there in terms of what his eyes should have been focused on. Ends up being a 40-yard gain for Jerry Jeudy early on that first possession. But we know that Melifonwu was able to basically erase it. 2nd and 10 from the 20. First possession again, this Melifonwu. Branch is actually not on the field here. He's going to come on a blitz. This is a calibrated stunt. Coordinated, I guess maybe is a better word, between the defensive end and the strong safety, and then the corner, who is to the boundary down here at the bottom side of the screen. I think it's Dorsey. So it's 12 personnel, twin wing. So the twin side is up here. They're tightly aligned. And then the wing side is to the bottom side of the formation, 2 tight ends. So the way that this is going to work on run action away, let me rephrase that. The stunt is called no matter what. Hutchinson going inside, and then Melifonwu blitzing to the outside. If it is a run play to the side, they're still going to destroy it, because the inside linebackers, and watch Jack Campbell's reaction, how quick his reaction is. Also very cool that Barnes is out here apex as a will linebacker, but Campbell's coming downhill now because he's committed to his read. He sees the lineman moving in this direction, back going in this direction. When it's one back, line and the back going the same direction, we would just call that full flow. Now you have a tight end leaking out here. That's going to be the corner's responsibility. Melifonwu is on the blitz on quarterback because Hutchinson is running down the line with the run play away from him. If you were to reverse everything here, except the line's reactions, so if all the offensive line and the running back was to work to this side, Hutchinson's stem inside, as soon as he fights pressure, if you're stemming inside, as soon as you get pressure, you get upfield immediately, because there's a reason why they're stepping to you. And then also when all the line works this way and the back, then Campbell and Anzalone is going to be flowing here too. Melifonwu off the edge could be a force player. My point is, this is a call to stop run to or away from you, Melifonwu, and stop the boot coming back to you. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. To the other side, I don't know that you have a corresponding, stunt there by Derek Barnes, because really, what some would call this right now is just old school 4-4. 4 defensive linemen, one of which is standing up right now, Hutchinson, and 4 second-level players, one of which happens to be Melifonwu, a safety. It's a brilliant call. I just thought I would explain some of the reason why it's a safeguarded call. So if it's run to or away, the Lions feel confident in running the stunt regardless, number one. And number two, if it is boot on a 2nd and 10, you got the potential for a big play. And in this case, Melifonwu was able to force the fumble, his first of his career, if you ask me. So we're going to move forward here, second possession. The second, and we're going to focus on third downs for about 3 plays in a row here. Second level guys here pass this off really well, if you ask me, on this 3rd and 9. It's going to be incomplete to Jerry Jeudy after a long time period of Russell Wilson scrambling around. I like how Melifonwu plays it. Branch ends up being on Jeudy. You will get the end zone angle here in a moment. So Melifonwu's up at the top. Branch is here. Sutton is the corner on Sutton. And so you got an inside release by the stack here. And then Melifonwu's going to help out. So you essentially end up double teaming him. But by call, I don't think it's a double. It's just dependent on the release. Branch is following Jeudy. I like the matchup there. Cam Sutton, Branch, and Melifonwu to the side where Jeudy and Sutton were lined up. In this case, happened to be to the field. I think it's an illustration that beyond just the splash plays these guys made, they also played well from a fundamental standpoint. Same play, end zone angle, Jeudy and Sutton, Cam Sutton, Branch, Melifonwu. You'll see them match up. And you also get an illustration, I think, of the second-level guys kind of passing things off. Barnes taking the running back. Irvin, Hutchinson unable to finish, but thankfully Branch is there. Ball off the fingertips of Judy, incompletion, and a stop. Third possession, similar situation, except now they're going to go with cover 3. Melifonwu, this is not in his zone. This is going to be the completion down the far left sideline to Cortland Sutton. That's Melifonwu there. Branch stays down into the boundary. I think you've got cover 3. Talked about this in the video I did earlier. You're underneath 4. Melifonwu's a little deeper because he's playing from depth. He's playing from safety depth and dropping down, but he's only 3 yards or 4 yards past the line to gain. He identifies this deep over route from Sutton. Unfortunately, just doesn't stay with it. Gets his eyes back in the backfield, and once Wilson extends the play, he's able to find Cortland Sutton for a huge gain up the left side. And let's just see it one more time. This is not his zone. This is not Melifonwu's zone, okay? It's just he IDs the route during the play, but he's so hard-coded to the zone, to the area here, that he doesn't want to leave it. And look, there's just nobody to defend this because you've got deep third player. Cam Sutton is taking the crosser from the other side. Anzalone is the flat player. The staggering of these two guys makes it look like, hey, Melifonwu should take him. Well, if he was at the depth of the other 3 second-level defenders, which I think was Barnes, Anzalone, and Branch, then he wouldn't even be in the window for us to talk about him defending it. It's really just a route that gets in between the second and third level of cover 3 because the quarterback's able to extend the play and make the throw. Same possession. This will show you the versatility and the trust they have in Melifonwu already. You've got Branch here and Melifonwu. They're creating a 5-3 look. That's what you've got here on this run play. And I'm going to let you see it a couple times from the All-22, and then I'll use the end zone angle to explain what I mean by 5-3. Branch is a safety, but what they've done here is they put a nose, 4-eye, and I think you've got a 4-eye or a 3 in Pascal. Defensive end is your end in a 3-point stance. Brian Branch is lining up as a defensive end here in a 5-3 look, where Melifonwu and Anzalone are your Sam and Will, whatever people want to call them, your stacked inside linebackers, and then this is your Mike backer, Derek Barnes. That might not be their position names according to the Lions website, but in that particular 5-3 look, that's what they are. That's what they would be called in terminology-wise in some defenses. We'll let you get a look at it from the end zone angle. Once 82 motions over, you've got nickel defense on the field, 4 down linemen, 2 of your 3 safeties, the third one being Kirby Joseph. Barnes, I'm calling a Mike backer, Anzalone, and Melifonwu, consider them mirror positions. It looks like a 5-3 to me. And it's run action to our left. Branch holding the outside. Melifonwu just folding inside here. He's a very, someone call it instinctive player, intelligent, very aware. He's being asked in this game to do multiple things. Drop down, play cover 3 on that 3rd and 9 I just showed you. Play in the box here as a inside linebacker, strong safety, rolled up into a 5-3, whatever you want to call it. And he's doing them well. When C.J. Gardner-Johnson comes back, if you want to get in that conversation, who's going to play, who's not going to play, I hope all of them play. I hope they utilize all of them. It could cut into the time that a guy like Melifonwu was on the field. But nonetheless, that's a 2nd and 4. No gain because Melifonwu and Branch were there to finish it off. Very next play, 3rd and 4. Branch with a pass deflected or pass defensed. It's going to be a cover 2. Just a great reaction by him. Tight end in the hook area. Almost ends up being a forced fumble. Joseph and Melifonwu are the cover 2 high safeties here. Anzalone theoretically could be the guy running between the hashes if this guy was to go vertical, but he doesn't go vertical. Why? Because it's 3rd and 4. Wilson gets the ball out quick, and Branch's reaction, his burst to the football, it's exquisite, man. It's a brilliant football player. The Lions had a great draft overall. There's no doubt about that. And Brian Branch is right at the top of that line, if you ask me, in terms of what he's capable of doing. 4th possession. It's going to be another 3rd down. Wilson gets sacked here. It's either 2-man or it's a version of playing some type of robber down here to the trip side, but I would just call it two-man because one safety is allotted to the X side. The other safety, in this case Melifonwu, is allotted to the trip side. I mean, what's the difference? You additionally have running back being manned up by the inside linebacker Anzalone. Melifonwu is looking for work. You've got to be able to do this at times. This meaning get to the quarterback with a four-man rush where you don't have to bring a safety. Now, on the very next third down, I'm going to show you from the 5th possession, they do bring a safety, and it's Melifonwu, and he gets quarterback hit. He's looking for work up to the trip side. Again, he's very aware. This is a 3rd and 13. He's not turning and running with a route that looks like it could go vertical. This could be just a man everywhere he goes call, so he's not responsible for helping that guy deep. He's sitting at the sticks, the line to gain, looking for work between 1 and 2. This is 3 that's released out into the flats. It's being covered by Jalen Reeves-Maben, who I think has taken advantage of the opportunities that he's got in the last 2 or 3 weeks to play on passing downs particularly. But anyway, that's Josh Paschal with a sack where he defeats the left guard one-on-one. You've got to get some wins there from the interior defensive line. Kaminsky and Paschal, to me, look like the guys to do it on those obvious passing situations, which this is one of. I'm going to stop this on the second run-through so I can illustrate to you the nature of the zone defense here. I would consider it a 2-deep, 4-under. Not everybody plays this. Not everybody is willing to because you've got so much space between the 4 underneath droppers. But on a 3rd and 10 where you're trying to get pressure on the quarterback and you're trying to keep him from escaping, this is a good option. 2 deep. No, by the way, that's Branch over there. The other one is Joseph. 4 under. There's your 4 under delineation. That is Aiden Hutchinson dropped out. And you can see that Wilson is looking to throw to that side. But it's a 4 under look. That means that corner doesn't have deep responsibility. The safety, in this case, Branch does. So were Wilson to throw this ball out to Humphrey in the flats, you've got the potential to break on this right now and hit that guy just after he catches the football. As it stands, Wilson doesn't get rid of the football until it's too late, and Melifonwu was there on the delayed blitz. Coming from depth, Branch dropping out, Joseph dropping out. Rewind it back one more time so you can see a little bit of a giveaway here in terms of Branch's depth. That's not his normal depth at the nickel position. So why? So he can get depth, so he can get back there to his half-field safety position from that depth. That's one of the reasons why the All-22 is so fun to watch, because you can't necessarily see that during the broadcast, and it's obviously very difficult for quarterbacks to see it as well. So great change up there, if you ask me, from the previous third down, which I showed you the sack by Josh Paschal. 4-man rush, 2-man, whatever you want to call it. Want to call it robber to the trip side, go right ahead. Just a brilliant call, being as Cortland Sutton was the backside X. Then you have the previous play I just showed you, 4 under, 2 deep, late blitz or delayed blitz with Melifonwu, who gets a quarterback hit. And oh, by the way, it was Branch covering Judy on the right sideline on that incompletion. Moving forward to third quarter, Tampa 2. It's a great close by Joseph at the bottom of the screen. Sorry, my screen seems to lag a little bit there. Hopefully it didn't mess up for you guys. Pass interference on Anzalone. Went to this Tampa 2, I thought, 3 times in the second half. Joseph is going to have a great close on this. Anzalone's going to run with the vertical by Mims. And it's a clear defensive pass interference on a 3rd and 12. So one of the times where, they went to man earlier on third down, and pretty much coverage was tight, actually twice on third down. Went to the 4 under, 2 deep on the previous third down, previous play I showed you. Now here in early third quarter, go to a Tampa 2, and it, quote, doesn't work. It doesn't work because Anzalone, for whatever reason, is, making contact with Mims, but you do have an opportunity here for Joseph to get the interception. Would have been called back because of the defensive pass interference that gives the Broncos momentum, helps them go down and score. Same possession, actually 2 plays later. 2nd and 8 from the 31, so early third quarter still. And Sutton is going to read this Tampa 2. I think it's the same coverage, for real, and go underneath of it. It's a 3-man rush as well, so you've got a defensive tackle dropping out of there, which I like doing that. I like the fact that they're showing a little bit more versatility. It's going to be 94, drop out of here. Anzalone's going to get depth. I think you've got a Tampa 2. So Joseph Melifonwu is getting to the deep halves. Sutton, once he clears the D tackle here, I think he's got a very obvious look at Anzalone, recognizing, okay, this Anzalone's getting depth. I'm just going to run underneath. And then, unfortunately, Jalen Reeves-Maben is unable to make the tackle. He probably needs to have a little bit more depth and a little bit more orientation about the 26-yard line, somewhere around in there, to be able to come downhill on this and not have to change directions, being so much sideways from an outside-in angle. I probably didn't say that well either time I tried to attempted to. But you should have more depth here, kind of like Branch does to the other side. It is a 3-man rush on a Tampa 2, so somewhat unusual. But credit to Aaron Glenn for using different looks and being very multiple in this game. And part of that process, I think, was Melifonwu and Branch and Joseph being able to be versatile in between all of those calls. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. All right, we now have a 2nd and goal on this possession. Melifonwu is going to be targeted here. He's going to read run. We'll talk about Branch, who's on the other side of the field, and nearly gets to Russell Wilson. He reads the run. So he reads the tight end block here. He also saw the quarterback mesh. Let me rewind this just a tick. Got a very clear view through that gap. He sees Russell Wilson's hand and not the ball, so he knows I've got to get back. He is delayed a little bit, but the throw is such, and the space is so tight down there, obviously with the ball being on the 3, that he's able to recover and get a pass defensed in the corner of the end zone, intended for, I think that's Johnson. Now, to the other side, Branch is going to read blitz this. His man goes away, and he gets the line stepping to him, so to the guys in front of him. So he goes. I love it. The only thing is right now he's not sure if the ball's handed off or not. Even he's got eyes looking right at it, some would say. But, man, it happens fast. It happens way faster than me having the screen pause right here. He's trying to figure out where's the ball at, hesitates for a second, can't get to Wilson. Ball is out. Broncos did some things, man, in the 3rd quarter. Great design, executed well. In this case, Melifonwu, because of the tight space, is able to recover, even though he read it wrong, I guess you could say, on the snap. There's some communication between Joseph and Melifonwu, and then once Humphrey motions in, there's going to be more communication between these 3. Joseph actually kind of grabs Dorsey and is kind of pushing him where to go. You can see a hand signal from Melifonwu, who ends up getting beat on this. But look, man, it's a tough cover. It's great design by the Broncos, so give them credit. Melifonwu was a little bit late on the challenge to the ball. It's great throw and great design, if you ask me. Receiver lined up inside the tight end is going to take it all the way across. Branch is covering Judy. One thing to say, watch Branch and Melifonwu dodge each other. I mean, at least they skip past each other and don't get picked here, which is the design of it. Joseph is going to help out Branch down there. There's just no mirrored safety to take over and help Melifonwu on that side because he is the other safety. It's him, Branch, and Joseph. So Branch has the benefit of getting help from Joseph here. You can see the ball is already out from Russell Wilson. There's the football right there. Melifonwu is doing the best he can to get across there. A little late on the challenge. Ends up being the Broncos' only touchdown. Moving forward mid-3rd quarter, I really love the design here from the Broncos. Melifonwu with a challenge. I think this ends up being a pass defense. When you get the end zone angle, you'll see. I don't know that he necessarily makes contact with the ball, but I love the design from the Broncos. The ball is a little late, if you ask me, from Russell Wilson. You got vertical stem by Sutton. Additionally, Troutman is going to bring his route secondary, but through the same funnel, through the same path, meaning you could draw one straight line and you pretty much had those 2 guys release covered. And once Sutton takes his route back in this direction, Melifonwu is going to baseball turn back to the middle of the field. Ball is a little bit late, if you ask me. Were it to be thrown a little bit earlier by Russell Wilson, I think it will make it almost impossible for Melifonwu to recover. I think this ball should be thrown already, or if not already, it should be out very soon. And Russell Wilson hasn't started to throw it yet. You have a complementary route here by Judy that is pulling the other safety away, so the design of it has opened up the middle of the field. Melifonwu had to respect the vertical by Cortland Sutton. Joseph had to respect the vertical, and then what ends up being essentially a post corner by Judy. Ball, I think, is a little bit late. Nonetheless, great challenge by Melifonwu, who played really well across multiple techniques, as you can see. End zone angle, same play. I think it's Kroll. I misidentified the tight end. You get some talented tight ends there. All right, this is the situation where the Broncos thought they scored a touchdown twice and didn't score it either time. Then when they did score a touchdown, it was called back for the right guard being offsides. This is a high-effort play by Melifonwu, Reeves-Maben, and then Anzalone. Melifonwu with the big hit first on the running back. I think it's McLaughlin. That's a huge impact right there at the 2 or the 1.5. And then Reeves-Maben and Anzalone. They say hustle is unpredictable. It's one of the best sayings that I was ever able to steal from another coach. And it's true. This should be a touchdown. 9 times out of 10, you say. That's fine. But the hustle, the nature of Melifonwu's commitment to make the hit, and then the commitment of Anzalone and Reeves-Maben to give second and then third effort keeps him out of the end zone. I mean, his butt ends up being on the 1-yard line. I did think it was a touchdown from the live stream or the stream that I was watching. End zone angle, same place. You can get an idea of the solid nature of the hit by Melifonwu, and then Reeves-Maben and Anzalone following it up. Of course, it also took a great effort by Derek Barnes on the ensuing play, which I won't show you. We're really focusing on those two safeties here. So fourth quarter, it's just how much of a difference it is when Brian Branch gets to the quarterback. This is a blitz. It's just a different combination when he gets there. Huge hit on Russell Wilson. Melifonwu, I think, is covering the tight end here, so uninvolved with the coverage aspect on this, but Russell Wilson got decked. I mean, Branch is the kind of guy that I can see the NFL, not on this play, I can see him getting fined in his future because he hits people so damn hard. And there's nothing wrong with hitting them hard. There's absolutely a ton of things wrong with fining players for playing football the way it's supposed to be played. And in my opinion, Brian Branch does. End zone angle, same play. You can see you got Irvin here. Branch is off screen to our right. Don't worry, he's going to show up in a moment. Unique talent. Guy who can cover deep. Play a too high safety position. Great timing on the blitz with no giveaway for Russell Wilson. I also like that this blitz is happening from his backside, from his non-throwing side, so he doesn't have the visual ability, if the read is to his right, our left-hand side of the screen right now, to be able to track it. Takes a huge hit. Finally, last one. It's going to be a deep pass down the field to Mims against Vildor down here. But one thing I want to note, Branch, Melifonwu both playing man on number 2s. This is early fourth quarter. I think this is after the Broncos field goal drive, so they already scored 10 points at this point. I wanted to do a video, a standalone on Melifonwu. He deserved it. Really cool to see a guy in his third year have what I think could be looked at as a breakout performance. 9 tackles, 2 quarterback hits, 2 passes defensed, 1 forced fumble. I probably showed you all of those things, or most of them, in this film. And then I love doing film study videos about Brian Branch. I will tell you guys, I feel spoiled. I think I said this in a video earlier this year. The 2 teams that I get a chance to watch, that I'm blessed enough to watch every week, the Ravens and the Lions, have 2 of the best young nickel hybrid safeties in Brian Branch and Kyle Hamilton. And I got to do a video on both of them. What I really want to do at some point, it'll probably be an off-season thing, is do a combined film study on both of them and show the crossover and how much similarity there is in the things they're asked to do. I just think the nickel position is such an interesting spot. And when I see Branch line up at defensive end, outside linebacker in a 5-3, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing Hamilton's asked to do. When I see him blitz from the nickel position and disguise it perfectly and hit the quarterback, it's very similar to a lot of stunts and blitzes that the Ravens utilize. Some of the disguised blitzes that Aaron Glenn used more this week, I thought took a page out of the Ravens' defensive playbook. My perspective there is probably very limited because the Ravens and the Lions are the 2 teams I cover the most, and the 2 teams I really focus on almost exclusively. And so my only place to compare it to is what the Ravens run on defense. I thought Aaron Glenn's guys executed a more widespread array of techniques than they have been asked to execute all season effectively. It looked to me like he tried to do some of these things against the Bears the week before, and some of them just failed. This week, they didn't, and I do wonder if it's because Melifonwu was in there so much and Branch played so well. Those guys, to me, look like a solid duo in and of themselves, and then when you add C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the mix with Kirby Joseph, I think it's a super talented foursome there. Appreciate you guys if you watched the whole video. Let me know what you think of the concept of covering and focusing on two players from the same team in one video. It certainly made it become a long video. My apologies for that. Feel free, if you didn't enjoy the long-term nature of this film study, to let me know in the comment section. But if you think other Lions fans would enjoy this film study and how detailed I tried to be in covering what Branch and Melifonwu were able to do, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.